Let's run the floor through the action in the bubble last night. It included this, the Jazz, evening up their series with Denver. One game apiece, a 19-point win. Donovan Mitchell scored 21 in the third, finished with 30 points. Jordan Clarkson chipped in with a playoff career-high 26 off the bench, so that series is even at a game apiece. This series is not. The Celtics crushed the Sixers. They're up 2-0. Jason Tatum, awesome again, 33 points, surpassing Larry Bird as the youngest Celtic with consecutive 30-point postseason games. He's also the youngest player ever to make 8 threes in a playoff game. And as we open the show with the Mavericks, even up their series with the Clippers with a 13-point win. Luka Doncic, 28 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. Kawhi had 35, but it wasn't nearly enough. The Mavs basically took a lead in the first minute of this game and never looked back. So here's the one and only Jalen Rose. Jalen, the reality is the six quarters in this series in which Kristaps Porzingis has been playing, the Mavericks have just flat been the better team. Are the Clippers in trouble?
I don't think they're in jeopardy of losing this series, but what's going to happen, Greeny, is now it's been elongated into something that probably is going to end up being a 7-game series. And you credit the Mavs, and as you mentioned, Luka Doncic, who's terrific out on the floor. His court vision, his ability to make people around him better, the pace that he plays with, the poise that he plays with, the maturity, and just allowing him to unlock the floor with his points. But then all of a sudden he gets in foul trouble. And Kristaps Porzingis stayed in the game. He did a terrific job. But how about the player development of Rick Carlisle? Tim Hardaway Jr. playing quality minutes. Curry came in off the bench knocking down shots. Trey Burke was not in the NBA until the Dallas Mavs went to the bubble. And he's playing quality minutes. Boban came off the bench and had 13 points and 9 boards. So the depth of the Mavs actually is what beat the Clippers, and that's something that the Clippers normally have to its advantage when they're going against all of their opponents.
You're exactly right. Trey Burke, Seth Curry, and Boban combined for 44 points last night, and a lot of it when Doncic wasn't on the floor. So, all right, Coach, I mean, tell me how they're going to do that. If at the point of the game when Porzingis gets thrown out the other night, the Mavericks were on pace to score about 130 points. They scored, what, 127 last night. How are the Clippers going to slow them down?
So here's what I love about sports. I swear, that's why I always encourage young people to participate in sports and or team activities, because it challenges you in a way sometimes your normal life doesn't. It shows you how to deal with success, how to deal with failure, how to deal with adversity. You don't think Paul George knows that his name was trending for all the wrong reasons? People making fun of playoff P, calling him Pandemic P, and he had 0 points in the first half. And showing the videos of he and Patrick Beverley, who wasn't there yesterday, making fun of Dame Lillard, while Dame Lillard just shot down the Los Angeles Lakers in Game 1. So those dudes now are going to be challenged, Greeny. I expect Paul George to play fantastic in the next game. Also, Montrezl Harrell has to pick up his productivity. He played limited minutes, clearly, because he just got back practicing and being in the bubble, so he only had 10 points. But that's basically half of his season average. So Paul George and Montrezl Harrell need to pick up their productivity. And also for the Clippers, you hope to get Patrick Beverley back into your starting lineup because it now solidifies your team.
Yeah, Paul George, 4 of 17 last night. And as Jalen said, 0 points in the first half. All right, something else I want to get to with you, Jay. After losing Game 1 Tuesday night to the 8th-seeded Blazers by 7, the top-seed Lakers look to bounce back tonight in Game 2. 9 Eastern, obviously, it's a critical game. You'll see it on ESPN. Let's play again what Paul Pierce said about LeBron and the Lakers yesterday on First Take.
If they don't win this year, LeBron's not getting any younger. This is going to be a big hit on his legacy, and I've already said he's not a top 5 player of all time. If the Lakers don't win a championship, let alone lose in the first round, I don't want to hear none of this GOAT talk no more.
If they lose in the first round, he doesn't want to hear any more GOAT talk. That's your guy, Paul Pierce. What'd you think?
His nickname is The Truth, and my countdown brother didn't need Maria or Jay Williams to keep him in line right there, Greeny, because while I agree LeBron James' legacy is cemented, and we've talked about that on this program, but there are so many players, not so many, I take that back. There's a Mount Rushmore of a couple of players that have just accomplished more than LeBron has in basketball, and it's just fine. It doesn't mean he isn't an all-time great. Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, and in my personal opinion, Magic Johnson. And then after that comes LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird. They all now, those four players become a conversation. And so it's not a diss to LeBron to say he's not the GOAT. But I don't feel he falls out of a list or it makes his standing worse if they lose to the Portland Trail Blazers. You and I have been talking about this, Greeny, during the lockout. They're really good. Dame Lillard's one of the top players in the game. He shot down the Oklahoma City Thunder and broke up Russell Westbrook and Paul George this time last year. So based on who they're playing against, I understand where the truth is coming from. LeBron James' legacy as one of the greatest basketball players is cemented regardless to what happens versus the Portland Trail Blazers.
You're exactly right. It was this time last year, only of course it wasn't. It was the first round. It took place in April as opposed to August, but I understand your point is still well taken. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.